Hi, I'm Christy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm here with my September mid-month reading wrap-up. It's now the middle of September, so I'm here today with my mid-month reading wrap-up. I always do my reading wrap-ups, or try to, I should say, of doing them in two different parts. So I do a mid-month wrap-up halfway through the month, and then an end-of-the-month wrap-up at the end of the month. So I am here to chat about the 12 books I have read so far in September. As always, if you ever want to see more of my thoughts or full reviews on any of the books that I read, I do review every book that I read. You can always get to my reviews in my Goodreads, which is linked in the description of the video. Also, in the description of the video, I always link every book that I talk about in the videos, so if you miss any of these, you want to go back and check them out yourselves, pre-order, do any of the things, all the links for all of the titles of the books and the author's name are linked below for you as well. So let's get into it. First up is Only for Tonight by Natasha Madison. First up, I got this gorgeous finished copy from the author, which has like the hockey sprayed edges, and it's actually like color interior as well, which I thought was kind of fun. Like on the pages, you can kind of see the sprayed edges like go onto the page as well, if that makes sense. Came with a ton of art and stickers from the author, which is super sweet. This is the start of a new sports romance series. I think they're all going to be hockey romances, and this one I gave 4 stars to. I feel like it was lower on the 4 stars, but if you enjoy the tropes that it is, which I'm going to get to in a second, I think you would enjoy this one as well. So this is a sports hockey romance, like I mentioned. I feel like her books are maybe lighter on the sports aspect. So this is a sports romance. The hero is a hockey player. It's friends to lovers, kind of like the hero and the heroine have known one another for years throughout their life. Their family are friends, kind of things like that. And so this is a one-night stand leads to an accidental pregnancy. So I feel like if you enjoy accidental pregnancy romances, you would probably enjoy this one because it definitely hits on those tropes. This one, like I mentioned, the hero and the heroine, their families are friends and they're kind of in the same circle, but the hero and the heroine were never truly close themselves. So this definitely kind of brings them back together. At first, it's a little bumpy with some situations that they both have to kind of get over and maybe deal with some things in their life. But then from there, the relationship, it just felt very easy, low angst, just like very steamy and quick. So if you enjoy accidental pregnancy, this is a fun one. 4 stars, like low 4 stars for me, but it was a fun like intro to a new hockey romance series from Natasha Madison, and it is out now. Then I read The Awakening by Nora Roberts. This is actually the first book in her, I think it's Dragon Legacy trilogy. I love this one. I gave it 4.5 stars, rounded down to 4 because there was just a few things, but I'm really intrigued by this one and excited to continue on the trilogy because I feel like this one definitely just sets up what the series I'm assuming is going to be. This is just like a fantasy series, I feel like, from her. I'm sure there will be a romance in there, but it's definitely not romantasy. It's just like heavier on the fantasy side. So in here, we're following this woman who she's living in current day times. She's a teacher. She has a lot of bills and things like that. And so basically she finds out, she gets a call from somebody saying like, hey, you have all of this money in this bank that your birth father has been leaving you for years. And so she's like, what are you talking about? Because she was raised by her single mom. She supposedly had no money growing up. She really had to kind of take care of her own debts, and she has a lot of college debt from becoming a teacher. And so she decides to go check it out, and she finds out that she is like a millionaire because of the money set aside in this bank account. And so she's always been intrigued by who her birth father is because she doesn't know a lot about him. So she kind of decides to use this as an opportunity, take the money, quit the job that she didn't really like but just had to do for income. And so she quits the job, takes her best friend who I loved, and decides to go to Ireland to find out about her birth father's past and like little bits that she knows to go see if she can find out more about him. I really liked those aspects in Ireland. I felt like it was very just like atmospheric, and I loved that. I feel like Nora Roberts does a lot of books kind of taking place in Ireland a lot, so I loved that aspect. And then when the heroine gets there, because like I mentioned, this is set in current day, but then it goes into kind of like this fantastical world as well, kind of like through a portal, which I love those type of kind of fantasies. So this one was so fun. I love the heroine kind of learning a little bit about her family history, and she's kind of figuring out things about this fantasy world. There, of course, is a villainous character that she kind of becomes known about, and then she just does some training, and there's like a little hint of a romance brewing. So I'm very excited for this one, and like I said, I can't wait to continue on with this trilogy. Next up is The Gingerbread Bakery by Lori Gilmore. This is book 5 in her Dream Harbor series, which is like a cozy small town romance series that has very like seasonal reads. This one I loved. I gave it 5 stars. It's my favorite in the series so far. This one I had an arc of it, but it actually just came out. So definitely go check it out. It will lean more towards like wintry Christmas time. So just know that if you want to save it for like an actual seasonal read. But I love this one. It is a cozy small town, like I mentioned, and these characters are characters that have been building up throughout the series. And so it was so fun fun to get to their book because this is a second chance romance. This one really worked for me. I loved the flashbacks that we get of the hero and the heroine. I feel like recently flashbacks haven't really worked for me in a lot of books, but for this one it really worked because it really got you to understand the characters and what they had already been through and like where they are today. I especially love the hero's flashbacks in here, and him and the heroine, basically they grew up together in the same small town and they were never really friends. They weren't in the same friend group growing up. Like in high school, she was part of a student council, very like type A student, where he was more on sports. He was on like a lacrosse team, and they didn't have a lot of the same friends. So they always on the surface kind of hated one another because of reasons that you see kind of in their flashbacks. And then you see like after they graduated high school, it was like Christmas break and they're the only two kind of still in town, still hanging out, where their other friends and people who graduated with them like moved off to college. And so the hero and the heroine have this like one perfect month together during the Christmas season when they are teenagers, like 18, 19, and then some things happen. And so you see in current day, it is like a decade or so later, and they are just kind of at each other's throats a lot. And so in here, they're having to work together or be together because some of their friends, which is the couple of a previous book in the series, are getting married. And so they're both active in the wedding kind of shenanigans and all that. And so it's a lot of their forced proximity and having to come to terms with how they were and where they are now. And I loved this one, especially if you love that like very thin line between love and hate. The hero and the heroine definitely have that. And I just loved their characters together, their romance. The flashbacks were so good. This one had me like just giddily kicking in my feet. I loved it. 5 stars. Highly recommend checking it out this holiday season. Then I read A Pack for Autumn by Amelia Emerson, so that I was jumping into like my fall TBR. This one I ended up giving 3 stars. I'm not sure if like Omegaverse is for me as far as like outside of like shifter elements. I personally think I prefer it that way, but this one was like cozy, small town, very much like a seasonal type of setting, as you can tell from the cover. And I feel like it was fun. This is an author that I have read her mafia romances under her Amelia Rossi pen name, so it was kind of fun to see her writing in this Omegaverse world. This is cozy, like I mentioned, and the heroine in this one is an Omega, and she is a new lighthouse keeper in town. And so the heroes all are kind of alphas. I think all of them are, possibly. But anyways, they all are just like centered kind of around her. So this is an romance. So I feel like this one was fun and cute. A lot of like caretaking scenes, which I appreciated, but overall I didn't like love or obsess over it. So 3 stars for me for this one. Next up I had an arc of Tower by Claire Kent. This one actually comes out at the end of September. You know, I love Claire Kent books around here. This is a post-apocalyptic romance novella. This one was so much fun. I gave it 5 stars. So this is the first book part of a collection of fairy tale retellings, and I think they're all going to be novellas, possibly. I really loved this one. It was so much fun. So this is basically kind of a spin or a take on Rapunzel, as you can kind of tell from the cover, with the heroine's hair falling down. Claire Kent writes post-apocalyptic romances, and so this one does exist in that same kind of overarching world that she has in all of her post-apocalyptic romances. And so this one we get like a little tiny crossover to some of the characters from Haven, the first book in that series, so that was fun to see. But in this one it is an age gap romance, and it starts off with the heroine. She has kind of lived very sheltered and protected her father for her whole life slash in this post-apocalyptic setting, and so he very much like took care of her and kind of kept her behind the glass windows of their house and just like protected her at all times. So now her father has passed away, and she knows that in this world that it's very much like survival, high stakes, danger, that she needs to kind of group herself with another group, another community to really like blend into and lean on and have like kind of protect her. And so she knows about the hero and his group, which is basically like they were former MC, kind of like a motorcycle group community. And so that was like pre the impact slash the post-apocalyptic setting in their world. And so that group still kind of hangs out together at this local like community type of building. And so the heroine decides to go to him and offer up this like transactional relationship where she's like, I can pretend to be your woman, so to speak. And if you can like protect and take care of me, you can pretend like you grabbed me from the house, whatever you want, just like let me be a part of your guys' community. Because I know in this world, like I definitely need to have people looking after me or taking care of me as well. So it goes from there. What I liked in here is usually Claire Kent really writes like those more broody, gruff heroes who don't say a lot, are very cold. And so what I liked about this hero is he definitely communicated with the heroine. He was more like talkative than some of the other heroes from this author. So I liked that like difference for this. This was just so much fun. Like I said, it's a novella and it moves really quickly. I enjoyed this one so much. Comes out at the end of the month. Gave it 5 stars. Next up, I had an ALC of Soul Searching by Lila Sage. This one comes out at the end of the month as well. And this one I gave 3 stars to. I feel like it was just okay. I had really, really high hopes because the cover for this is absolutely a stunner. I was so obsessed. I had like so many expectations, I feel like, on this book because of the cover. And sadly, like, it was just okay for me overall. I wanted like so much more from this. So this one is a small town, Wyoming, which is where all the books from this author kind of take place. So in this one, the heroine, and she has a twin sister, they have always been able to see and kind of communicate with ghosts their whole life. And so in the past year of the heroine's life, she has realized that she's kind of lost that ability and she can't see them anymore. And she really wants to be able to see, hear them, and just be able to connect with ghosts. So she decides to go back to her hometown. She's kind of like out of a living situation. She kind of isn't doing great with her job, which she's a photographer, and she has used kind of the ghostly images that she would see. That's actually what she was photographing the whole time. And so now, without her being able to see that, she feels like she can't do her job anymore. And so she goes back to her hometown, and there she doesn't want to tell her family that like she needs a place to live. She doesn't have a job, so she ends up staying with the hero. He's new to town. He has an upholstery shop, so she ends up renting a room from him. And so it is definitely their romance. And this one I just honestly didn't care too much about either of the characters, never really connected with them, and so I wasn't really feeling their romance situation. So I don't know, 3 stars for me. This author, I have read all of her books, and while some of hers in her small town kind of like Western series worked for me more than others, I feel like overall she's not really like an all-time like favorite for me, if that makes sense. So this one overall, it was just kind of boring, lagged in the middle. The heroine in here, the hero's name is Brady, and she calls him Boring Brady, like to his face. And I felt like he just wasn't a very interesting character. He's definitely one of those characters which I saw other or like early reviews talking about. He definitely feels like a male character written with like the female gaze kind of like situation, and I just wasn't really a fan of him. So I don't know. Together, they were just okay. It was kind of boring. So 3 stars for this one. The cover though was stunning. It comes out at the end of the month. Next, I did an old school historical romance reading vlog. So these next 3 books I talked about in that vlog specifically, like even more. So you can go check that out. I'll link it below because it was an experience. But I read a bunch of old school historical romances. So the first one is Keeper of the Dream by Penelope Williamson. Love this cover, the gold and the red and the gorgeous dragon banner on here. The step back is beautiful as well. So this is a medieval historical romance. It's set in Wales in like 1157, I want to say, kind of around there. This one I really enjoyed. I gave it 4.5 stars. This was the first time that I read this author, and I definitely want to read more from her now, which is a good thing because I've been collecting her historical romances for quite some time because she always has really pretty covers and step backs. So this one was a lot of fun. It is 500 pages, and it definitely felt like you spend so much time with the characters in here, which I actually loved. It's definitely one of those books that feels atmospheric and really transports you into the story, and you just feel like you spend all this time with the characters and you can kind of see it playing out as a movie in your head, or at least I could. In here, the heroine is a princess of Wales, and the hero is a Norman knight he is fighting for England's king at the time. And so there is kind of this like land dispute, border dispute between Wales and England. And so the heroine's father, who is a prince, he ends up signing kind of a peace treaty with the King of England, where basically the King of England decides to let Wales kind of govern and handle their own land and country as they see fit, and England will like remove their kind of troops from the situation. But he decides to leave the hero, who is a Norman knight, kind of in place to kind of look after things. And then the heroine's father, who is the Prince of Wales, he decides to leave 2 of his children, one of which is the heroine, in kind of England's hands to kind of like keep the peace, so to speak. And so in here you see it very quickly leads into this kind of jousting tournament where the hero ends up winning the castle or the keep there to look after, as well as the heroine's hand in marriage. So it's a marriage of convenience. Enemies to lovers. It was so much fun. If you love like a stabby heroine, the heroine in this one is definitely one of those. At one point she has like a dozen weapons in her room that she tries to hurt the hero with, and it's just a really fun one. There's also like magic woven into here because the heroine is a bit of a seer. Like she can see visions of the future as well as from the past, and so you kind of see that play into their story. I just really enjoyed this one. The magic of it all, the squires, the bards, the jousting tournaments, it very much felt like an immersive read. So I enjoyed this one. If you want to read like an older medieval historical romance, highly recommend. I can't wait to read more now from this author. So again, this is Keeper of the Dream by Penelope Williamson, and I gave it 4.5 stars. The next one I read for that reading vlog was Bed of Spices by Barbara Samuels. So this is another like medieval, Middle Ages historical romance, and this one would take place in kind of Central Europe. So this one takes place in Strasbourg in Germany in the 14th century. So this one's a forbidden romance. It has class difference as well. So in here, the heroine is the young Christian daughter, which plays a part in the story, which is why I'm mentioning it, because the religious aspects definitely have to do with the forbidden element. So she is the young Christian daughter of a German lord in the city that they live in. And then the hero in here, he is the young Jewish Jewish son of a merchant, and he ends up like becoming a physician as well in their community. And so in here, this one is definitely heavier on the content warning because this one deals a lot and kind of leans more towards historical fiction as far as like the way that Jewish people were treated and actually killed in this town because of the Black Death, the Black Plague that ends up coming to their town. And so it has to do with a lot of like historical aspects that actually happen in this town as well. So just know that going in. Definitely on the heavier side. I don't think I mentioned, but this one I gave 3 stars to. I felt like I liked the historical aspects and the writing was good, but otherwise I wasn't like super connected to the characters in here. So I felt like it was fine overall. The original cover I think is stunning, absolutely beautiful. This book is available on Kindle Unlimited, and from what I saw, it hasn't been like altered or edited. So there is that. But anyways, 3 stars for this one. And then the last one I read for that reading vlog is Where Passion Leads by Lisa Kleypas. This one I absolutely hated. I gave 1 star. It's my least favorite book that I have read this entire year. I kind of was a little worried about going into this one, but kind of wanted to read it for the plot of it all. The plot being like me reading like all of Lisa Kleypas's historical romances, not for the plot of this actual book. So this one, the cover is absolutely stunning, but sadly this book just did not work for me at all. I was not rooting for the characters. I didn't care about anything going on in the story. Definitely because of what happens in chapter 2, which is right at the beginning of the book, where the hero, there's like a non-con situation, and that is kind of the base relationship slash how it starts between the hero and the heroine. And I hated it so much. I hated the way that the hero thought about the heroine, the feelings that he has. Like he really only feels bad because now he feels like responsible and that he has to take care of her. So hated him so much. Nothing about this book was redeeming to me. So 1 star, least favorite of the year. Definitely did not enjoy it. This is Lisa Kleypas's debut though. It was published in 1987. So I feel like for the part of like just wanting to read all of her books, I only have like 5 other books of hers to read now. I don't know, it was an experience. So you can check out more of me crashing out over this one in my reading vlog, which again, I will link below, but 1 star, did not enjoy. All right, so then after that, I jumped into a newer release. So this is Wildcard by Elsie Silver. This one is the last book in her Rose Hill series. It's book 4. Sadly, I expected so much more from this book, so I ended up giving it 3 stars. I went in with very, very high expectations, I will say, so maybe that played into that as well. I don't know. Overall, I feel like Elsie Silver, I've read all of her books now, and her books are just kind of like hit and miss for me. For the most part, they're like a 4 star. I feel like I've definitely had some favorite 5-star reads, but this series overall, if I look at it, like the first book and now this last book were both 3 stars for me, where the books in the middle I enjoyed more. So I don't know, this series overall, like definitely wasn't my favorite series from her. This one, like I mentioned, I went in with high expectations. So this is a Small Town, because that's what Elsie Silver writes. And this is an ex-boyfriend's dad romance with age gap that I really enjoyed and was looking forward to this trope. And I feel like it just wasn't executed how I have read other books with these tropes better, I should say. So this one overall, I just wasn't really a fan. I didn't like the hero personally. He just didn't act his age to me, and I wanted just like more from this. I also feel like the age gap of it all, like he's only 12 years older than the heroine, so I feel like he should have been older. I don't know. Overall, it was just a miss for me. Basically in here, the hero and the heroine, they meet at an airport. They have this really great like flirty, bantery. They're drinking all night, hanging out at the airport because of like some canceled slash rerouted kind of flight situations. So they spend a whole night together at the airport. They exchange numbers and then they go their separate ways. So the hero kind of texts the heroine a few times, doesn't hear anything, so he kind of gives up. It's 8 months later now, and he is at his son's birthday party, which his son, he actually didn't find out that his son even existed until he was 24, and that his girlfriend from high school back when they were 15 had his son. So he is late into his son's life. His son's 24, 25 now, and so he's at his son's birthday party, and the heroine is there as well, and she is basically his son's girlfriend, and so that is like the forbidden element of it all, and it kind of goes from there. And I just feel like the plot was a little bit all over the place for me, and I didn't really love the characters, like either of them separately. So I don't know, I kind of just wanted more. I felt like it was okay. The hero just acted a little too young for me, and I just wasn't really a fan. I feel like we got to know more of a side character whose name is Clyde. We get to see him a ton in the story, and I feel like his character was more developed, slash we got more of his story with kind of the heroine and the hero, more so than the hero and the heroine together. So I don't know, I just wanted more, so 3 stars for me. And now we're just continuing the 3 stars. So next up, I reread Hello Stranger by Lisa Kleypas. I am a co-host for the Ravenels read along, which we are doing throughout the rest of the year. So this is book 4 in the series, and this one is a reread for me. The whole series is actually, and this book has always been my least favorite in the series, and it still is kind of that way. So this one I gave 3 stars to originally. It's 3 stars for me again. I will say the cover is so gorgeous for the series, the step back moment as well. What I do like in here is the heroine. So she is the first like female physician in England at the time. I love her being a doctor. I love her on her own. I feel like in kind of some of the other books in the series, she shined a little bit more for me versus like in her actual book. I wasn't like really a super fan of hers. The heroine here, I don't like at all. And I just didn't like their kind of relationship dynamic. So it just didn't really work for me overall. I also kind of missed more of the Ravenel's family being a part of the story. They come into play in this one, but it was like towards the middle or towards the end, which I felt like was a little bit too late. And I just wanted more from this one overall. I feel like it just feels different than the rest of the series. I will say in this one, I really enjoyed though the heroine's like her surgeries and operations that she kind of has happen, like these medical dramas happening within the story, which I loved all those, was eating those moments up. I really enjoyed it. I actually just came off of watching The Pit, which is on HBO Max and Hulu. Love that show so much, which is basically a modern ER story. And so I love that show so much. It was definitely apt for going into this book next after binging that show. And so yeah, love the medical aspects of it. I love the heroine on her own. I just didn't feel like the hero was like worthy of her or did the things that I like for heroes to do towards heroines in Lisa Kleypas books. So overall a miss. I just enjoy so many others from this author more. So 3 stars for Hello Stranger. All right, and then the last book that I have read so far for September is The Lost Kings by Ashley Munoz. This is the first book in a new spin-off, second generation series from her. So this series is taking place, or it's like the children of her other series that I have not read, which is the Rake Forge University series, I want to say. So this is the spin-off slash the children of kind of those characters. So maybe I would have enjoyed this one more having read that series, but it's supposed to be a standalone on its own as well, or standalone series, I should say. So this one overall I gave 3 stars. And I just like, I don't know, I kind of wanted a little bit more from this one. I feel like I really enjoyed the Stone Riders MC series from this author. And so I don't know if it was maybe just that series I enjoy from her or what, but this one was kind of a miss for me. This is a setup where all the characters, like I mentioned, are the children of this other like series, which you kind of get in the prologue of here. And so basically this is an MFM love triangle, 2 twin brothers, and then the heroine. And so they're all like childhood best friends. And it kind of goes from there. What I didn't like in here, and I feel like this author has done a few times in some of her other books that I had issues with, is a lot of like flashbacks to when the characters are children. And I feel like I personally just don't care about that. I get like setting it up to show that they were like childhood friends from being children, but then just having flashbacks continuously through the entire book back to when they were younger. Like sometimes we'll catch up to present day and I was like, okay, good, that part is over. But no, we continuously jump back to when they were 7, when they were 10, when they're 17, like constantly. And I just didn't need that personally, all those flashbacks. So I don't know, it was okay. There's kind of like this darker mafia-esque element to the story as well. And it was just okay for me, sadly. So this one comes out at the end of September. Maybe you'd enjoy it more if you like those tropes, or if you have maybe read parent series of this one, maybe that would help with like the family dynamics of it all. I'm not sure. So for me, it was just okay. So 3 stars. All right, so those are all 12 books that I have read so far for September. Like I said, I have linked all of the books that I talked about in this video in the description. So if you want to go grab any, check any out, pre-order any of them, they're all linked below with the title, the author names. My Goodreads is also linked below, so you can go and check out all of my like full-length reviews for these books as well if you want even more of my thoughts. Definitely let me know in the comments if you have read any of these, what books you've loved so far for September. I have some higher hopes for some of the reads I'm picking up in the second half of the month, so I can't wait. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these, what you've liked so far in September, all the things. If you'd rather leave me an emoji in the comments today to let me know that you watched this video, leave me the candle emoji, because I just want to jump into like fall, all the cozy, spooky vibe kind of feelings. So leave me a candle. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!